In this section, we first focus on designing the health bar and indicator for the animator object. Next, we work on designing the shared UI and the local UI. And finally, we work on the UI for the radar system. So without wasting any time, we select the animator's object. Right-click and add an image in the UI. Then right-click on the canvas and create an empty object. Rename it to base and set its width and height to 0. Select the canvas and set the render mode to world space. Change the scale on all three axes to 0.1. Set width and height to 0. And set the position on all three axes to 0. Place the image object on the base and change the width and height of the image to 20. Then move the canvas slightly higher. Duplicate this image and then place image 1 under the original image. Rename the new one to health bar amount and the original to health bar background. Select health bar amount and set this sprite as the source image. Do the same for the other one and selecting the same sprite. For health bar amount, we choose the color red set the image type to field and change the fill method to vertical so the fill amount updates this way. Rename the canvas to world canvas. Select the subject again and add another image. Rename the canvas to indicator. Set the render mode to world space. And set the scale to 0.1 on all axes. Then set all other values to 0. Set the width and height of the image to 50. For the source image, select the enemy indicator sprite and set the Y position to 5. Rotate it 90 degrees around the x-axis. Rename the image to indicator and set its parent to world indicator. Let's set the color of the indicator to red. For world indicator, create a new layer called indicator and assign it. Next, we need to create these two objects for enemy tank as well. So we select them and copy. Then we paste them into enemy tank. It's better to move these two objects slightly lower so they're in a better position relative to the tank. Select both objects, change the tool handle rotation to world, and then move them down along the y-axis a bit. Looks like this position works better. Let's place the wall canvas object under enemy tank so it aligns properly with the tank body and slopes. Next, we select these two objects and copy them to use for the players. So in Resources, open the Player Blue prefab in the prefab editor and paste the two copied objects into Player Blue. Select the wall canvas object and place it under tank-free blue. Change the scale to 0.05. And set the Y position to 2. Select health bar amount and change its color to green for the players. Select the indicator and set the source image to the player indicator sprite. For the color, choose one that matches the player. Next, select base and add a UI text. Rename it to player name, and then select base again and create an empty object. Rename it to player name base. Set width and height to 0 and place the player name text under it. Move the subject slightly higher. 15 seems like a good value. And set the Y rotation to 180 for now. Select player name and enter player in the text field. Set the font size to 10 and choose these buttons for alignment. For text wrapping mode, select No Wrap and set width and height to 20. Move health bar background slightly lower and player name base slightly higher. 18 seems like a good value. For health bar background, set the Y position to -2. Now, select these two objects, copy them, and use them for the other players. Similarly, place the world canvas under tank-free green and the world indicator here as well. It looks like we did it the wrong way, and we need to swap these two. So place this one here and the other one there. Now we need to set the indicator color to match the green player. Once again, we copy these two objects. Open the red player in the prefab editor and paste the objects here. Similarly to the green player, place the world canvas under tank-free red and the world indicator here. For the indicator, set its color to match the player red object. Go back to the scene, Create an empty object and reset its transform. Right-click on the subject and select UI and then Image. Select the canvas and in Canvas Scaler, set the UI scale mode to scale with the screen size. Set the reference resolution to 1280 by 720 and match to 0.5. Select the image, switch the scene view to 2D, and press F to focus on the image. For the anchor preset, choose this option. Set position X to 10 and Y to -10. And set width and height to 70. Press Ctrl D to duplicate it and place image 1 under the original image. For the source image of the subject, select this sprite and do the same for the other object. Change the color of image 1 to green. Set the image type to filled and the fill method to vertical. Next, rename the subject to health bar background and the other object to health bar amount. Right-click on the canvas and add an image and rename it to Emerald. For the anchor preset, hold Alt and Shift and select this option. Place it in this position set width and height to 70 and Y to -10. Select Emerald and assign the Emerald sprite as the source image. Next, add the text to the same Emerald object by going to UI and then Text. For alignment, choose these options. Set the font size to 28, position the subject here, set width and height to 70, and set text wrapping mode to no wrap. Temporarily enter a value in the text input and place this text near the emerald. I think 72 would be a suitable value. Now we can clear the value in the text input and rename this object to emerald amount. Select the canvas and add another image. For the anchor preset, hold Alt and Shift and select this option. Set the color temporarily to this color. Now select the image and add the text as its child. In the text input, type you finished the game. Congratulations. Set the font size to 60. Adjust the alignment to these options and set text wrapping mode to no wrap. Rename the subject to background and temporarily disable it. Next, we want to work on the UI for the radar system. Right-click on the canvas and add another image. Select the object and choose this option in the anchor presets. Next, right-click on this object and add another image from UI. Set the width and height of this object to 200. For this object, set the anchor preset to this option. Set the parent's position X and position Y to -10. Actually, we should use a raw image instead of an image for designing the radar system. So first, select the subject and delete it, then go to UI and choose raw image to add it. The raw image object uses a texture instead of a sprite, which will be used for designing the radar system. We'll cover this in more detail in the following sections. Select image and set the source image to the radar mask sprite. And next, we want to use the image as a mask for the raw image. So first, select the image and then add the mask component to it. As you can see, the mask is immediately applied to the raw image. This way, we can easily apply any kind of mask to the raw image. Rename the image to radar mask and the raw image to camera renderer. Since we later use the camera that is part of the radar system and assign the raw texture to it, we'll use this field for that purpose. We'll place this here as well. Next, we select and copy both the health bar and radar mask. Open Player Blue and paste them on the local canvas. Now, if we switch the scene view to 2D and press F, we'll have these two objects positioned as shown. Copy these two objects and paste them into the other players as well. Go back to the scene and remove these two objects from here as we no longer need them. And finally, rename the game object to Gameplay Manager and change the canvas title to Shared Canvas.